Now, welcome to another special edition of News from Naboo, where we're going to be discussing more from Celebration. And what are we discussing this time?
Well, first we're going to discuss the Lucasfilm Publishing panel. Then, after that, we'll discuss the High Republic Publishing panel.
Interesting.
All books all the time here. Okay, so I'll get started with the Lucasfilm Publishing panel. They went over, of course, books, comics, short stories that are going to be coming out. For the High Republic era, because they decided to talk about that too, even though they have their own panel, we're going to be getting Chronicles of the Jedi. It's an illustrated guide to the Jedi of that era, which everyone probably needs because there's like 800 Jedi.
There's a lot of Jedi. I remember the first book, it was the Light of the Jedi. They're just constantly throwing new Jedi names at you, and it's like...
You need flashcards?
It would have been nice to actually just have a little reference sheet. There were a couple times I was like, well, which one is that? I pick up my phone and type in the name, and it kind of helped visualize and... Which I do. One thing I did like about the High Republic is how much kind of visual material, artwork they include with it. And I mean, obviously not just the comic books, which are visual art, but, they had just character images that you could kind of reference at times. So, a cool idea, I thought that was.
We're also going to be getting Starlight Stories, which will be a collection of short stories from High Republic era, all set during Phase 1 of the High Republic.
Not to be confused with Phase 2, which is in the past.
We'll get to that in their panel.
Yes, we will get to that because, well, we'll save it for then.
Shadow of the Sith did get some love. Apparently the original manuscript was 150,000 words. But it is going to hit the shelves in June. There are excerpts out there. I'm personally excited to read this one. It follows Luke and Lando on a post-Return of the Jedi hunt for the Sith.
I mean, it's, of course, going to try to explain some of the things in the Rise of Skywalker and the sequel trilogy era. So, I say this not meaning to be ill with ill intent, but good luck. Because there's a lot of inconsistencies, a lot of things you're going to have to somehow, iron out to make sense, including why it seems like Luke will know that the Sith are coming back. He seems to know about Palpatine and all this, yet he still just says screw it and goes to the island. I don't know. It's always going to be hard to explain Luke's decisions. Very, very hard.
Next up, we've got Padawan. It's going to be releasing July 26th. It follows a young Obi-Wan and his master Qui-Gon Jinn.
Which could be interesting. We got Brotherhood, which is young Obi-Wan and young Anakin. It's like the prequel to that. They love doing prequels, don't they? They're really trying to fill in all of
Obi-Wan's life.
They want every moment of his life to be filled in.
Exactly. We've got next up The Princess and the Scoundrel, releases August 16th. It follows Princess Leia and Han Solo on their honeymoon on the Halcyon Star Cruiser.
Yep. Your reserve your honeymoon suite now on the Halcyon.
Hey, we've got that book pre-ordered.
Oh, for a minute there, I thought you were going to say we got the room pre-ordered. I'm like,
no.
We got an extra $20,000 that I didn't know about.
Yes, I've been hoarding money this whole time.
Just to take me on the Galactic Cruiser.
Oh my goodness,
that would be I don't know. I don't want to say the worst use of money ever because I haven't been there, but I can think of other things to do with the kind of money it would take to probably reserve a Han Leia honeymoon suite on that thing. Assuming it exists, which it probably does.
Okay, so now we're going to move into Tales of the Rancor Pit, a new comic from Dark Horse. It's going to be available October 13th. It's going to feature a trio of terrifying tales, which probably aren't super terrifying. But
yeah, usually like the IDW comics, they're...
Well, this is Dark Horse.
True, Dark Horse goes darker, right? That was... Yeah, I know. Bad, terrible. But no, there were the tales from Vader's castle where, they're kind of these horror stories. And they're sort of kind of scary stories, I guess.
Then we have Star Wars Hyperspace Stories. It will be new anthology-style comic series from Dark Horse available this summer.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I was kind of hoping Dark Horse would be doing more kind of what they did before they lost the license.
They haven't been given permission to do more yet.
No, it seems like, that was kind of my fear when I heard Dark Horse was going to be doing comics. As a lot of you probably know, they used to have the kind of exclusive rights for most of the EU time frame. Marvel had it way back in the day, but, they did some very adult, really excellent style comic books, and I kind of thought they would just be, I was kind of worried they would just kind of take over for IDW, which kind of does the more childish side of the comics, and it seems like that's more or less going to be the case. It's just Marvel doesn't want to share the good stuff, I would imagine.
Speaking of Marvel Comics, their adaptation of The Mandalorian Season 1, it's going to be 8 issues long, and there's going to be 27 alternate covers to choose from.
Jeez. They love their variant covers.
It gets you to buy more issues. I know
That's
you'll
the whole
go after
goal.
that action figure cover.
I do
Those
collect
original
the action figure.
Kenner-esque
Yep.
look covers are they're pretty cool,
They're
honestly.
really cool, actually, yeah.
No, they're making one for Mando.
No surprise. Yeah, I do have not all of them, but most of them. There's a couple I've missed along the way that I have to go back and try to find. But no, I love collecting anything vintage, Kenner style Star Wars stuff. You've got me.
All right, and last up from the publishing panel, Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith. It's a collection of short stories about Force wielders from both the light and the dark side. Will be coming out June 7th. I know they had a special exclusive cover at the convention that you could get if you were there.
No, another, hopefully it's something interesting. I don't know. Seems like a lot of books lately. A lot of things just coming out lately.
Oh, you don't even tip of the iceberg, because here comes the High Republic panel.
Yeah, I actually got to watch the High Republic panel.
Yes.
The publishing panel was not live streamed, so didn't get to see that. So that's all kind of secondhand information again. But I did watch the High Republic panel.
Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, it was a lot of patting themselves on the back, which, I guess they're allowed to do that.
Well, they've been working hard, churning out books.
Yeah, a lot of, I mean, I kind of, I don't know. I'm not trying to be mean to the High Republic. I've said before, I've enjoyed it. It's been pretty decent.
As he's being mean to the High Republic.
Yeah, it didn't seem like they had a lot of enthusiasm in the crowd for that panel. Not a lot of, it was mostly...
Well, because they couldn't give out any big information, too.
Yeah, but just in general, it sounded like a very subdued audience, as if... I don't know. I just don't know how big the High Republic is or isn't. It's so hard to get a read because there's a lot of negativity around it, which some of it, I'm sure, comes from people who have read it, but a lot comes from people who have, as I've said before, never read it. So it's really hard to get a feel for it because how many people have read it and what do the people who've actually read it think about it?
Well, let's actually get into it.
Sorry, yeah, I get off topic.
Yeah, too easily. So Phase 2 of the High Republic is coming, and it's going to be dubbed Quest of the Jedi. That's the overarching name of Phase 2.
It's set 150 years before, which is, not to cut you off, but what was so strange... Yeah, but what was so strange, because at the panel they said... about Phase 1, that, spoiler alert if you haven't read it, it kind of ends on a downer where the Jedi lose. And they were like, well, that's never happened before. And I'm like, have you seen the prequels? Prequels, the Jedi kind of lose in the prequels too. So they were kind of talking it up as if it was this kind of unique story idea, when I was like, nope, that's definitely the prequels. And they don't lose as badly as they do in the prequels. But anyway.
Yeah, there's a lot to get through here.
Oh, all right.
So this panel included a lot of things that were not featured in the publishing panel. New titles, and I have to say, hearing them talk about it made me a lot more interested in reading it. Phase 2 is going to be a new jumping on point, so you don't have to have read Phase 1 to start fresh in Phase 2. And it's going to be, as he said, 150 years before Phase 1. First reveal, Star Wars Art of the High Republic, which is going to be released on November 8th. It's going to showcase concept art for the High Republic, so it's mostly going to show Phase 1 material. Moving on, a unique aspect of this era for Phase 2 is it's going to have two chancellors. One interested in the expansion into the galaxy, into the outer rim area, and the other focused on the core worlds. And they say what's interesting about these is they're not going to be at odds, even though they have different goals and ideologies. So this is a republic kind of functioning as it should, a true democracy where people actually listen and are open to thoughts, it sounds like.
I love democracy.
Phase 2 is going to feature exploration, and there's going to be a Pathfinder team and a communications team, because they're going to be evolving the technology, because apparently back then, if you wanted to send a message to your friend on another planet, you actually had to get a droid, and you'd send the droid, and the droid would go across the galaxy, deliver your message, and bring it back. So this is about expanding communication, and as well as, of course, Pathfinders, which will find hyperspace lanes and try and expedite moving and transportation around the galaxy.
I'm curious how this is supposed to just mesh with the old Republic, where, they're making all this, they're making it sound like the Republic 350 years before the prequels is this kind of tiny thing that is only now beginning to expand at all, which, the Republic is, just to quote Obi-Wan, for 1,000 generations, the Jedi have been the guardians of peace and justice in the Republic. So I don't really understand what
picked
they're doing with this.
Maybe they just picked species with really short lifespans to say that about.
Well, I mean, I guess you could have a disaster at some point that is kind of, regresses the technology and the galaxy. I guess we could do something like that, but it is very strange for them to be talking like, well, 350 years before the prequels, they were really finally discovering the galaxy and, hyperspace lanes and communication.
The galaxy. They were trying to expedite so that they could move around easier and communicate better.
I don't know. It's one of those things where I don't really know how much sense that makes. Unless you are going to, like I said, put some kind of tragedy in there that kind of wipe the slate clean at some point.
Right, next they're going to show us Path of Deceit, which we've already seen and we've talked about on this channel before. It's going to come out November 1st. Before that, on October 4th, we're going to be getting the release of Convergence and Quest for the Hidden City. They like to do these things in waves. They do an adult novel, a young adult novel, and a junior-ish type novel, and they do them in sets. So when you get one, then you get the other two right after. Or you get two, then one. But it's always going to be in that. So their young adult novel was Path of Deceit. Convergence is the adult novel, and Quest of the Hidden City is the junior novel. I believe that was how those three went.
Yeah, that sounds right.
When they say young adult, they're still really good books, so don't let that throw you off.
Yeah, young adult just means... I don't even know why they call them young adult. They're like just slightly watered down adult books, I guess. A lot of times they even can be better than the adult books. So, I don't know, like
it's
Lost Stars.
They have to make a genre. This started years ago when they made the genre young adult, when they started introducing things like Twilight and all of those types of books, and Hunger Games. They were making a young adult genre. I mean, Harry Potter turned into from kids to kind of more of a young adult novel.
I think Harry Potter is the reason we have the kind of the resurgence of like a young adult novel, because you had the kids who started reading Harry Potter when they're young. They grew up, they read all these books, kind of are teenagers or young adults or whatever, and then you had the whole Twilight and other things to just kind of cater to these people who had actually grown up enjoying reading. What a crazy concept. Well,
and it helped, of course, proliferate reading amongst that age group. So now they specifically make books targeting that age group because it's, fantastic to get them to continue reading.
It is, yes.
Then you hope one day they graduate to the full adult section. Yeah. It's a weird thing. Next up, the reveal of new comic from Dark Horse, another one, The Nameless Terror, which implies the return of the Nameless, that are the mysterious creatures from Phase 1 that terrorized and killed many Jedi. I mean, they showed us the concept art of Nameless and the Leveler, and those things do look freaking terrifying.
They look creepy, yeah.
Apparently they literally feed on Jedi.
Yeah, they can scare them to death, literally, and into ashes, essentially, or dust. Mm-hmm. It's kind of strange, I don't know.
So that might be your more adult
book
that you were looking for from Dark Horse.
All right.
So the Nameless, which exists in the Phase 1, apparently existed back in the other phase, Phase 2 as well.
So if they encountered the Jedi then, how come the Jedi
because they were all killed then.
Later? Oh.
I mean, think about it. If they just all died, they never figured it out.
I guess. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see, I guess.
Makes them even more terrifying. Okay. Then we get some 2023 reveals. The next audiobook is coming out. It's going to be titled The Battle of Jedha. I'm very interested in that, of course, because we did see Jedha in Rogue One and know the Guardians of the Wills used to reside there. So that comes out January 3rd in audio form, and there's going to be a script version for sale on February 14th.
I always thought Jedha was like ancient Jedi, but maybe it can be several hundred years back.
Well, we'll see. I mean,
yeah, that's true.
There's somebody who has an interest in Jedha, and there's going to be a battle of Jedha. Last up, the Wave 2 of Phase 2 novels for spring 2023. Again, they do the waves in threes because they do the adult, young adult, and...
Always three there.
Yeah. Okay, so we've got Cataclysm, Quest for Planet X, and Path of Vengeance. I'm going to guess Quest for Planet X is probably the young reader.
I hope so. That's the one
that sounds... Path of Vengeance, I'm going to assume, is going to be a follow-up to Path of Deceit.
Yeah.
So that's your young adult novel. And Cataclysm, most likely, Convergence, then Cataclysm.
It's so strange that we have... I mean, I don't know how much they're trying to jam-pack into this time period. It seems like every 100 years they had some kind of big... And I guess maybe that's possible. I've always assumed, like I said, that 1,000 years between, Bane starting his rule of two and the Sith kind of going into hiding, and what we see in the prequels, it's been pretty quiet time period, but now it's making it sound like all kinds of crazy stuff was going down.
So High Republic Phase 2 kicks off in October. So you can try to catch up like I'm going to be doing.
Yeah, you got it, because we're going to be
Or,
reviewing the High Republic. We
As
want to
I
get.
said, you can choose to start fresh.
Yes, you can. It's a jumping on point, as they say. But we do want to cover a lot more of the canon stories, books, and comics. We did one a couple weeks ago, which I think people enjoyed. So, but you have to do the catching up. You've
It's
got
a
a lot
lot
of work ahead
lot
of
of
you.
reading
A lot
to
of
go.
reading, but you love
I
reading.
really do need like a stack of books. In a
I've
nice,
told you I
comfy
will
chair in my
gladly
reading
I will
area.
gladly give you your homework if you want. I can tell you what to read and where, because I have waded my way through it already. All right, well, I guess that's all we got for you this time. So take to the comments below. Tell us what you think of all these upcoming books. Or, again, tell us what you think of the High Republic era. I always like hearing from people who have actually read it. I always get comments from people, it's terrible, it's this or that. And then I ask if they've read it, and they say, well, no, but someone else told me. So always like to hear opinions on the High Republic. Good, bad, in between, whatever. Anyway, take to the comments below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.